One of the most important foundation principles that those starting an online business today need to understand is that everything we do is about getting and keeping the attention of an audience. To some extent, we're like performers on a stage, trying to keep the audience in the theater captivated and entertained. However, in a world full of more and more people trying to get attention, it's becoming more difficult. There are so many distractions that can pull your audience away. Whether we're building audiences via email, Facebook, Instagram, text message, or telephone, it's harder and harder to get and keep attention. So today, we're going to talk about audiences and attention, why it's important, and how to keep it working. Today, we live in a very changed world from the one that most of us grew up in. I know that when I was a kid, the number of people who had an audience was relatively small. If you weren't on TV or radio, then you didn't think that what you did was in terms of having an audience. If you wanted to get your message out to the masses, then you needed to become famous or buy lots of TV advertising. Even building an audience in your local town was difficult. Then along came the internet, and now everyone could communicate with each other across the world. It started with forums where people with similar interests could get together and send messages or comments to each other. Now, even if no one in your town was interested in your hobby of ham radio, you could go online and find other people just like you. People who had the same interests and passions and wanted to share information or learn more about those hobbies. When people started to publish blogs and information about these niches, and they became influential in their niche communities online, they were the leaders. Of course, social media and YouTube took that to a whole new level because now anyone could start publishing information about their niche interests and find others who liked the same. This all coincided with what was going on in television with reality TV and the rise of shows that weren't even written by professional writers, but instead were created by just having a camera crew follow around interesting people. I may not agree with what some people find interesting, but that's the beauty of it. You don't have to appeal to everyone. You just have to find the people who find what you say or share interesting. This, of course, led to the rise of big brands like the Kardashians. We aren't exactly sure what they do, but they do get a lot of attention. And notice the word attention comes up again. Now, we're in a world where there's dozens, if not hundreds of platforms where you can get attention and build an audience of people interested in what you have to say and share. Email, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp, Snapchat, Pinterest, Twitch, and many more. All of these are places where you can build an audience, deepen that relationship to create a connection, and keep coming back to get their attention. Some have mastered this to the extreme. So let's talk about the Kardashians again for a minute. Yes, I know they already have enough people talking about them. But the reason that they have that level of interest is because they know how to play the game of attention and audiences. So they are a good example. They may not have done much in order to get famous in the first place, but they sure know how to work it and to profit from it. You probably saw the news last week that Kylie Jenner, the youngest of the Kardashian clan, just became the youngest billionaire in history, beating Mark Zuckerberg. She's 21 years old. How did she do it? First, she built an audience and she got their attention. Of course, she benefited from all the work to get attention done by her older sisters and her mother. However, she put out her own content and now has 129 million followers on Instagram and 23 million followers on Facebook. With an audience that size, she has a lot of influence. So why not find a way to profit from that? She came out with the idea of selling lip kits, which are just collections of lip glosses and signature colors. She had a company make 15,000 kits using money that she earned from modeling. She posted out to her audience on social media about if they wanted to buy some and sold her entire inventory in literally seconds. Obviously, she was on to something, so she created Kylie Cosmetics in 2016, which is now grown to be worth over $1 billion just 3 years later. Okay, we aren't all Kardashians, but the model is the same, just on a different scale. She built an audience of people interested in a topic, in her case, beauty and appearance. After she built the audience and the relationship with them, she thought about products that the audience might be interested in, created some things to test, asked the audience, and then expanded on the products the audience liked. She built an audience, got them to know, like, and trust her, and then created and endorsed products to them. Does that sound familiar? It should. Not everyone has to do it on the scale of Kylie Jenner, though. The big rise in the world today is what we call micro-influencers. These are people with smaller audiences in very focused niches, but that have high engagement with their audience. We're talking about people with 1,000 to 100,000 followers, not with lists in the millions. Micro-influencers are starting to get more attention because they often have higher engagement with their lists than even the bigger influencers do. In our marketing terminology, they get better conversions because the relationship is deeper. You have to always remember, it isn't the list that makes money. It's the depth of the relationship with the list. Micro-influencers have a deeper relationship than big celebrities with the smaller group of people on their list. And that is where we can all come in. When we try to build email lists or followings on social media, we're trying to be micro-influencers in the lives of those who follow us. We want to build an audience of people who know, like, and trust us. Then find or create products that they're interested in purchasing. To do this requires us to get the attention of people who want to join our audience, entice them to join us, then keep them engaged and entertained so they stick around. In the email world, we think of this as a lead capture process and then communication with the list. We can use that as our example in our discussion, but realize that the exact same concepts apply to building an audience on any other platform as well, like Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube. The tools and the tactics vary, but the foundation is the same because people are the same. They all have the same basic psychology. Always remember that good marketing is applied psychology.